Do you ever have that? The sun is shining brightly through a beautiful clouds cover and you think, it looks like heaven. This, well, for many people, the existence of God and heaven is unlikely. Atheists put on a roadside sign, probably there is no God. Dare to think for yourself and enjoy this life. Christians, on the other hand, respond, God really exists. God is there, no doubt about it. I didn't come up with this. It isn't a dream. Although there are people who come into contact with the living God through a dream. It is not a vision or a sighting of aliens. According to atheists, there probably is no God. That's right. Probably doesn't belong to the God of the Christians. Christians have certainty. Every day is one day after the birth of Christ. He is so extraordinary that with his coming, the era is a fact. Thus, a Christian has the assurance and firm confidence that Jesus is his or her Savior. You will truly enjoy in this life when you live according to that knowledge. Don't get me wrong, a Christian also knows sickness, sorrow, mourning, loneliness and poverty. In this life on earth there is brokenness, and we can blame God for that. Remember our previous podcast on suffering. But despite that, a Christian believes in God and finds strength in Him. And a Christian lives in the expectation and hope that life will have a glorious continuation with Jesus in heaven. Blaise Pascal, an ancient philosopher, challenges you to argue with yourself. After all, you've got nothing to lose. He asks you to list the possible consequences of believing and not believing. And he advises you to reason as follows. If God exists, I get an eternity of happiness and joy. If it turns out that God doesn't exist, I haven't lost anything. On the other hand, if I assume that God doesn't exist, but he turns out to be there, I will have an enormous problem. But then I run the risk of suffering in hell eternally. Therefore, this philosopher's conclusion is, the risk of not believing is much greater than the risk of believing. Therefore, it is wiser and safer to assume the existence of God. Therefore, believe in God, perhaps still hesitantly. Think about who you are and who God is. Experience the joy of living by grace and in freedom. How do you know that God really exists? How can you start believing? Is that even possible for you? Who is God? These are all questions we would like to discuss with you. Call us or send us a WhatsApp message to 0623827798 or send us an email to blijdeBoodschap@Gereformeerde.nl. Thanks for listening and see you next time.